Hi everyone and welcome to the Great Commission Roman Oppression card game. In this little video we're going to be looking at the method of play, the phases and the actions involved when you're playing primarily the Romans. Now this is the setup. We've got a leader and we've got 6 members just like the original game. The leader has a special ability and we've also got, instead of a location, what's called an modus operandi. It gives us our method of play that we're best at, and this one allows us to replace a preparation card once per round. You'll notice perhaps that the leader has a stone tablet instead of a scroll. The standard members and the people from the previous game have scrolls. These are the people who are, everyday people who can get recruited by the Roman state, but these people with a tablet are Roman loyalists. You'll see as well they have a Roman eagle in the top right. So we've got a lictor, senator, centurion, and our leader here. He has all his statistics just like before, but if you're new to the game, top left we've got faith. The Romans don't really use faith. Then we've got wisdom, which is 3, and he has a talent on his tablet which says commission to make ready 1 financial achievement. Bottom left is his recovery cost, which is the right way around when he's commissioned. He has a Gentile symbol in the middle and his resistance rating, which is 5, bottom right. The resistance in the old game was only used for a target number for outreach for the church. But in the Roman games, the Romans used their resistance for several things, for execution, for building temples and things like that. This stat is actually really important for the Romans, so we've actually managed to use the card in a really different way. At the top here, we've got our events deck, and in the multiplayer game, that's gonna affect everybody equally. So, for example, here we've got favorable wins. Every player gains that same benefit, so it's good for everyone, Romans and churches alike. We'll see here we've got the world deck, which is where we're going to pull all the people and do our recruitment. And here we've got edicts and a little card market where we've got 3 cards out already. These edicts are requests that Caesar wants us to perform during our turns. What have we got? Build law and order. We've got build fortifications and build trade routes. These are the requests that Caesar wants us to do. And if we look at this card, we can see, if we go up a bit, it says, it gives 2 glory on the bottom left. On the bottom right, it says 20 resistance. That's the requirement for us to be able to build these trade routes. And then on the stone tablet, you've got what it gives you. Commission to exhaust 1 member, to make ready 1 member. Now, that's our card market. Then we've got our preparation cards here, our laurel cards, we've got the trouble cards over here, and we've got the edicts as well. Those edicts, it says edicts 2, because when we hit the later years part of the game, you start using the other edicts, which are much more expensive and much more powerful. The Romans have a glory track as well here as it goes up. You just like the original game with the church and their spiritual health, but instead of wavering, starting at 7, going up and down, the Romans start at 1, and then as they gain glory from these edicts and from executing the rebels, they gain glory. Their glory then helps them recover in the recovery phase. Lastly, you'll see that some of the people already have troubles. When you play the Romans, you draw 3 trouble cards and you then attach them to the people. It's slightly different to the original game. They don't just go to the top and affect everyone. They go to a specific person. Okay, that's the setup. Let's have a look at the phases. Each game has 7 rounds and each round has 4 phases. Phase 1 is the event phase. The first thing we would do is draw our event. We just looked at it, favourable wins. Then when it's not the first round, we do recovery. So we get to recover our leaders for free, and we recover as many people as we have glory. So we've got 1 glory. So we'd look at our people and look at the costs, and we'd learn we can't recover any of these people because they all have more than 1. Then after the event phase, we go into the actions phase. Then we play simultaneously. So the church will be off in their corner doing their actions, outreach and all that. We, the Romans, are going to be in our corner and we're going to do our actions. We don't depend on each other, so it's just all simultaneous. You're preparing yourself and you're building your engines in your own corner until you get to the oppressions phase. Now each round is a game of 2 halves. For the first half, you're going to be doing your actions, recovering people, building stuff, training people, all that kind of thing. And then in the oppressions phase, the Romans are going to try and arrest the church members. They're going to execute people. They're going to do all this. And that we have to plan for as we go. What are the actions that the Romans can play in their action phase? Well, you get to take 2 actions. The number of actions can be increased by members' talents and things like that. They can also be increased by laurels, but the member talents can only let you get up to 3 actions per round. The laurels can give you even more, so they can get you higher than 3. But what are the actions? Let's look at the list. Recruit. Like before in the original game, you get up to 3 people and make a little team. But instead of outreach, which relied on faith, the Romans used their resistance to recruit people. Let's say we're going to use the lictor and the centurion. He's got 5 resistance, he's got 7, so we've got 12. The average cost of a person is 4 or 5. So we think, well, okay, let's pull 2 cards and we turn them over and we use their resistance, just like we would in an outreach. Okay, we had 12, but this guy has 5 and this guy has 8. So we've hit 13, still too high. So what happens is they go back and they get shuffled in to the deck. If we had successfully got the people, they would go into our incoming little area and they will wait until the beginning of next round and they join the state as recruits. For every 6 points of resistance that the person has, we gain a trouble, and these troubles attach to the newcomers. Next, we've got recovery. As before, we might want to make our people ready. So with a recovery action, you get 10 points of recovery to bring up your people. And so we're going to have a look. We've got 4 here, 4, and then he's also exhausted and he's got 3. So we can't do them all. So I'm going to choose this guy, and they are getting recovered, and that's a recovery. Playing normally, that would be the end of our 2 actions, but let's see what other actions are available. Send action. If you're playing with 2 Romans and 2 churches, you can send people to the other Roman state. This includes up to 3 people, or you can send activity cards over as long as you're sending a person. The activity card takes up one of the slots, so you could send 1 person and 2 activities, for example. Preparation. In order to do a preparation, we assign up to 3 people, but we use their wisdom. So let's say we go him, him, and him. And now we've got 11, so we can take 3 cards from the preparation deck and we get to put them in our hand. Let's see what we've got. Okay, countermeasures is an activity that can be played. Well, this one is limited to the oppressions phase, but there are other activities which we could be playing on ourselves straight away or holding on to. We have an oppression card. Oppression cards are essentially troubles that we place upon the church at the end of the round. In the oppressions phase, we can place one on the church. This one is propaganda. If we have multiple oppression cards, we can choose which one we're going to assign. Next, this is a training card. It says, soldier, arrest church members with 5 resistance. This member gains 2 resistance. You may also notice that in the top left it says equip to a Gentile male. Only Gentile males can be equipped with this card. I'm going to choose this guy to receive the training because he has 5 wisdom, and wisdom is useful for arrest actions, which is what that one gives. Next, let's look at build. We look over here at our card market and see the target numbers. Let's say we want to build a fortification. The target number is 15 resistance. I'm just going to move it here. So we need 15 resistance. We get to put our people together. So he's got 5, he's got 7. And because he's got 7, I could use him. So go bosh, bosh, bosh. And those guys can build this. This provides us with 1 glory. So we get to put our glory up. And that is a build action. We now have the utility of this card straight away. Those are all the actions that we can play in the actions phase. And so we would be going on. But what we need to consider before we go on is preparing ourselves for the interaction. Now, if we had left ourselves like this, we've got nobody available. And so if that happens, we might play the recovery as our interactions phase action. But let's say, and all that does is just give us a recovery like we just saw. Let's say we've got some people available. So let's just put a bunch of people up. All right, I'm thinking now about the interactions phase. I need to set some people aside who I'm going to use in order to do my action. I decide that what I need to do, because this is round 1, is arrest some of the church members. I place this face down as my intended action, so that's locked in. I then choose a team of people I want to do the arrest. So I need this guy because he has the arrest ability, and he had 5 wisdom. Wisdom is what we're going to use. So we look at our people and we say, okay, well, this guy's got 4 wisdom, so he's pretty good. And we can stick up to 3 people in. Let's go crazy and stick all 3. Okay. Those people are now set aside to go and do an arrest. We also, in the oppressions phase, get to play an activity. This one is countermeasures. So we're going to set that aside in case the church plays an activity on us. This one is heavy fines. This one is propaganda. So I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to choose propaganda, and that's the oppression that I'm going to set aside for the interactions phase. I've got all my cards set to one side, and I'm ready to say, okay, guys, all the other players, I'm done now. I'm ready for the actions phase to finish. And everybody goes, okay, we're ready. The next phase is the troubles phase. The Romans draw 1 trouble card from the trouble deck. They look at it and they assign it to someone. This one says occultic demon. Attach to the highest resistance. Exhaust. Each troubles phase lose 1 spirit. This member can only be used to build religious edicts. I'm going to put it on him because he's got 5 resistance. He's got 7, but he already has a trouble. He has 5, he already has a trouble. So does he. So literally everybody... we should actually be considering these guys as well. So we look at them. It goes on to him. And so he is now demon possessed and he is exhausted. He can get recovered, and then when he recovers, he can only build religious edicts. The other thing we have to do is look at our other cards and figure out if they trigger in the troubles phase. We look at those 2, they don't. This one, however, it says, in the troubles phase, move to and exhaust a commissioned member or discard if all are ready. Well, these guys are ready, but again, we have to consider who's over here. So we are going to move it to one of the ready members. And so we can choose who. Now, based on this, we'll choose him because he's got the less wisdom. He's actually exhausted, and so he was supposed to be coming with us to arrest the church members, but now he's exhausted, so he can't actually help. Okay, that's the troubles phase complete. The church will be doing their spirit thing and all the rest, and all the other players do their troubles. And now you say, is everybody ready? Yeah. Okay, let's do the interactions phase. We then reveal all our cards and they get played. We're locked in, so we are doing an arrest. So you saw that we lost that guy along the path. He got ill and he's not able to attend. So whereas we were throwing down 12, we're now only putting in 9 wisdom for an arrest action. We've got 9. We've got this training as well. So we're targeting people with 5 resistance. As you've seen, we've been concentrating on our own board. We're not supposed to be looking over at the church and reading the cards and working it all out. We can see that the church has a bunch of people over there, but we don't know what their resistance is. So we need to decide how many people do we want to try and target with this arrest. We can go for 1, 2, or 3 people, but the more people we arrest, the higher the wisdom will be for them to try and resist. We're putting in 9. If the number of wisdom that they use is higher than 9, then they escape. They don't get arrested. Okay, so we're putting in 9. We're targeting people who are 5. Let's go over and have a look at what they've got. When we look at their tableau, we discover this guy has 5 resistance and the leader has 5 resistance. So these guys are basically vulnerable to becoming arrested. Let's read their wisdom. Adds up to 7, and therefore it's lower than 9. So these guys have been successfully arrested and they go into like the jail. The Christian church could potentially have played an action to hide. What happens then is they set people aside and that person is hiding the others. So he would be like face down and we go, by the way, we're hiding. Okay, so then they add their wisdom to these guys' wisdom, and then, so if in this case we had 7 plus 3, that makes it 10. In that case, he would have successfully hidden these 2 and they would not be in prison. So that's the idea of how that works. But let's continue. Let's say they are in prison. We're going to now look at a different action. In the following round, let's say we try to do an execute. Let's say we send these same 2 people along. Okay. His resistance is the stat that is relevant. He has a buff on his resistance from his card. So he has 5 and he has 4. That is again 9. And then we go over to the other side and we look at what these guys have got. These guys have 5 and 5. So in this case, this would be an unsuccessful execute. If we had successfully executed them, they would be dead. Then we gain 1 glory per person for each rebel that we had publicly executed. And when you're unsuccessful, the people in jail then get out. They've been acquitted. So the idea is there was a trial. You tried to get them prosecuted for being rebels. There's not enough evidence. They get out. The other thing the church can do is defend the members. So again, they can set someone aside, let's say him, and they put their face down sort of thing, and they go, right, we're defending, and they use the resistance for this guy. He's 7, so you go 7 plus 5 plus 5, that makes 17. He has defended them. Let's look at one thing that the church can do. The church can potentially intercede. This is their kind of proactive thing that they can do, where they do an action to intercede against troubles in the Roman state. So let's say these 3 are going to do an intercession. They're going to do a faith-based intercession, and they're going to try to get rid of a conflict. Okay, so we add up their faith, 6, and we have a look and we say, do you have any conflicts? And they got 4 there and 2 there. So they're doing a faith-based one. So they managed to get rid of this contagion and it gets discarded. The result of which is that the person who was healed becomes blessed. They gain a card that denotes their blessing. It doesn't do anything to them. It doesn't restrict them or anything like that. But they're someone who has been blessed. Later in the game, the church can potentially pray, and the people who are blessed will have a theophany and they will join the church. The Romans can play deny as their action. Remember, you only get one action and you have to preset it. But if they had preset a denial, let's say with these guys again, every person that you put gives you 1 point and a training card. So this is on him. This is a training card. And a trained person gives an extra point for their card. So you go 1, 2, 3. So they're making the target number of the intercession 3 higher. His trouble was 2. They're putting 3 on it, making it a 5. But the people who came, they put down 6 faith. So it's still successful and he still becomes blessed. The Romans and the church also get to play 1 more card each, an activity and an activity from the church. So let's say the church was to play an activity on the Roman state. So let's see what they got. So we say these guys, they play this on us. Okay. It says remove 2 conflict troubles. Okay. So this activity would then get rid of this. But we play countermeasures, and it means that you prevent the effect of 1 card played against you. So they're trying to be nice and make a council of peace and remove his regression, but we deny them. So that fails. All right. Then we set aside propaganda to play, didn't we? So we wouldn't like reveal it. We would put it face down over here on their trouble track, and it becomes a trouble for the church. The church get to play a blessing, and it's going to bless people. So basically, those are all the interactions. The Romans get to arrest, execute, recover, or deny, and the church can hide, defend, intercede, or recover. And that will then conclude the oppression phase, and that would end the turn, and you would go back to the beginning of the next turn for round 2, and you would draw a new event card, and so that would begin the new round. And that's how you play the Roman oppression card game as the Romans, interacting, as you can see, with the church. If there's more than 1 Roman and more than 1 church, the way that it works is that this person will oppose this person, but they're not interacting with the other church directly. The idea is that this church is in Lystra, it will have a location, and this Roman state is in Lystra, and they will directly oppose this church. So their oppressions go onto that church, their activities go to them, and when they execute the people in that church. They don't execute the people in the other church, and so that's why you might need to cooperate as the Romans, or you might decide you're not going to because you can't both win. But it could be that you, like the Roman state, am I right, can't arrest people. They don't have anybody available to arrest, and so the soldier would be sent across to them. Maybe he would take the countermeasures with him, and then the Roman on my right would be able to play those cards, and that's why you would send. But I can't directly oppose the church, which is not opposite me. So it's sort of like 1v1 and 1v1, but the churches can cooperate and the Romans can cooperate, but they are competing with each other as well. So it's a fun old mix. You've got one opponent, you've got one potential ally, and that's how the game works. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this little video. I think we've pretty much covered everything, and yeah, if you haven't already backed the Kickstarter, please go ahead and grab your copy of the game. And if you grab the original game as well, if you don't already have it, you're going to have more people to mix in, more blessings and activities available to play the game with. All right, thanks for watching.